Okay, so I was reading through some of the other questions, and one of them was asking us to get feedback on stuff that people are doing on campus, like our own group people. I actually wasn't able to go to the events this week. As I said in the other video, my semester's been crazy. Um, don't by any means underestimate the amount of work that you set on yourself, because if you have a really long list, it's probably a really heavy list. But I do want to get back into how drugs and alcohol are affected on this campus, or how students use them, for one thing. I think that part of the reason, that's what I wanted to get into, the reason behind it. Gotta talk yourself through it. The reason that so many students do it is peer pressure, for sure. Like, I'm not even going to pretend it like it's not. In fact, some of the newest peer pressure is joking about peer pressure specifically, in which case people are pressured. Like, oh, it's your 21st birthday, we're all going to get you drunk. And you're like, no, I don't want to. And everyone's like, oh, come on, just accept this awesome peer pressure. And you're just like, no, I don't really feel like it. It's okay, it's positive peer pressure. Okay, yeah, whatever, let's just do it. That happens a lot. Everywhere. So often. Peer pressure has become a joke to continue peer pressure. Don't know how that worked. I think it's just because everyone nowadays is super sarcastic. But that's a huge thing. Everyone just peer pressures each other. It's the situations you're in, it's the friends you're with, it's just people around you. And you know, on one end of the spectrum, you can claim that it's positive peer pressure, not in what they're trying to pressure you to do, but in the fact that for the most part, people say no not because they don't want to, but because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't make a plan for themselves. I know we made a poster or something like that basically said, party smart, and to remember to always make a plan before you go out at night, because you want to be able to get home safe. You want to be able to do everything safe. And that includes a designated driver and this and that. And in the positive peer pressure side, people are pretty much just assuring their friends, it's okay, I've got you. It's your birthday, have fun. Which my friends did do to me. It is really hard to not give into that. That's just what it is for people. It makes it harder when you're in something, like you subject yourself to something like a sorority or a fraternity. The pressure to drink or even use marijuana, I wouldn't say cigarettes, because people are moving away from cigarettes and moving to smoking weed. That kind of stuff is so abundant in Greek life, and that stretches everywhere. We've gone to football games where we're passing by some of the fraternities, and they have old fraternity members. And when I say old fraternity members, I mean like they are elderly, retired fraternity members. Come back, visit, drinking beers with all the young guys. And some of them are really nice, and they offer beers to people on the street. Greek life, really, from my point of view, I'm not a Greek at all. But from my point of view, Greek life is very, very persuasive in the fact that they try to get their people to use substances. In their defense, they kind of see it all as fun and games, but there are bigger points in time when you really should not fall into that pressure. Like, you don't want to overdrink. I know that overdrinking is something that a lot of frats use for their pledges, although that is illegal and they will not admit to that at all. I have had friends that said that that's how they were hazed. They had one of the older frat guys stay there and would basically designated drive, but he would pretty much tap out people that looked like they had too much, but the whole point of the hazing was to get them to drink too much. My friends have said that the reason behind that, they later found out, was to get them to test their limits, but that is in a safe environment, but that is just not okay. I would not want to be pressured to drink like that. And on the instance of how you use alcohol, you are going to find out your limits in different ways, and there is more than just one limit, because if anyone drinks 10 shots of tequila, you're going to throw up. If you drink 10 shots of something that's low in percentage, let's say I think Malibu is like 19%. You drink 10 shots of that, you're still probably going to be bad, but you're not going to be as bad. It really depends on what you drink. It depends on how much you drink. It depends on how much food is in your stomach. It depends on how fast you're drinking. All these different things are factors that apply to what your limits are when you're drinking alcohol. And something like that does not express to me how you just test your limits. That's not okay at all. So I feel like Greek life is definitely a huge factor into why people have alcohol and drugs so prominent at our campus and every other campus. It's also our generation is super rebellious. You can say that it's for any college kid, like in any generation, like the 70s, all the college kids, they're super rebellious, they're against the government. Very much the same now. But I feel like that atmosphere is really what instigates and kind of like eggs people on to continue doing that. So it's a huge issue that can be addressed, can be noted. Like, you can tell people that it exists, make people aware. That's the word I'm really looking for. You can build the awareness for it. But the fact is that it is completely up to people to make those decisions on their own, and they're going to do what they want to do, and a lot of the time what they want to do is what they're pressured into doing. I don't really know how to get around that or how to fix that other than to tell myself that I'm not going to do things like that. Be responsible. It's really important to be responsible. Because if you're not, you can get into a whole lot of trouble. We had a student I went to school with in high school, came to UF, and he got alcohol poisoning, like a severe case of alcohol poisoning, and got like a type of disease from the alcohol poisoning. Like, that's how much alcohol he was drinking. He was known to not be sober even in high school, and that's not okay. So he gets to college, does the same thing, if not worse, and I'm pretty sure it was worse. He joined a fraternity and partied all the time. His grades slipped, went everywhere. After he found out he got that disease, he uprooted himself from Florida, moved to Texas, went to some university in Texas, started reading the Bible and following God, and never heard from him again. That's what he did with his life. That's what that can do to you, is if you are that much into it, if you don't watch yourself, if you're not taking control of yourself, that kind of thing can happen to you. And people are like, that's crazy, that only happens to like those people, it doesn't happen to me. It happens to people. It's not if it's going to happen to you, it's when it's going to happen to you, if you keep making the decisions you're making. That goes the same with if you're not, it's not if you're going to crash on your moped, it's when you're going to crash on your moped if you drive erratically. It's a lot of stuff like that. So I think in the long run it's really up to people as to what they want to do with their lives, and that ultimately affects everything. So that being said, I'm going to conclude my Substance Week video because I've gone for roughly 20 minutes about how substance abuse works on our campus and how it continues to work in college and in our lives and everything like that. So I'm not going to say don't drink. Drink responsibly. That is 100% okay. Drink responsibly, drink legally. Marijuana, I try not to judge people for it because there's so many people trying to legalize it that I just don't use it. I don't use it myself. It's not healthy for you. It's not good to smoke anything. Currently, it is illegal. Don't do it if it's illegal. That's all I've got. Alright. So, I believe next week is Body Image Week. That's fun. I know we're having an event where we're putting posters over all the mirrors in a bunch of areas all over campus so that people don't look at themselves in the mirror and they realize that, hey, I don't need a mirror. I'm myself. And that's where I'm going to end this. Alright, have a good night, guys.